Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and it's 2 o'clock, so that means it is time for Top 5 Tuesday. And I have a special guest with me today, my good friend Andy Garris from Pro Fabrication Headers and Exhaust. Look at that, I got it all. Usually I just call you Profab. But,
right, you said it all?
I got all the words in. So tell us what brings you to Rutherfordton today.
Got lost.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think you'd even find this place if you were lost.
No, it's like way off the beaten path.
It really is.
If you were lost in North Carolina, I don't think you would end up here. No, I had to come drop off a bunch of stuff, a bunch of new stuff, so it was kind of exciting.
Yes.
So.
I completely agree. And in fact, to talk about that new stuff we've got here, this is, and it's be a little different show. We're just going to talk about Profab products today. So spoiler alert.
Awesome.
Yeah, I didn't bring you in as like, a lot of times I'll make somebody into my own Vanna White.
Right.
And be like, oh, here, hold this. I mean, Alex, of course, he's helping out in the office today. He got to be Vanna was it last week, Alex?
Yeah, it was last
yes,
week.
It was last week. And but also to share his experiences with some of the products. So that was kind of good. But here is what we have is now there's this is new for 2020 or halfway through 2020. It's not a new concept. I mean, it's our AntiReversion Mufflers designed by Hendren Racing Engines. But now this is all brand new tooling. You guys at Profab are doing these, and tell us a little bit about your process there.
Yeah, so I mean, this obviously we've had our stainless version, the bigger version of this muffler for a while now, and we wanted to go ahead and do the smaller one that Hendren had also designed way back. So we designed all new tooling and everything to be able to form these. These are mild steel, and they're just painted. So I mean, they're painted nicely, but it's going to burn off probably, but. Either way, it's all we formed it. We also were able to machine weld these because we were able to form them tight enough with it being mild steel to be able to hand TIG weld them. So they are still TIG welded. So that was a plus to not have this big weld, MIG weld on there, that kind of thing. It does. This end slips on your header. You just take some of the paint off and weld it on, and you have a nice piece here.
Yeah, I love it, and. You also brought the price point down also. So we brought the price point down by $10. So these used to be like $109 a piece. Now they're $99, or you can buy them by the pair for $198, and they're on our website. So we'll drop in a link. And I know we've got a bunch of folks here. We're going to say hi to some people, and then I will announce what we're going to. We've got some great giveaways today. So Mikey's saying hi. Andy's in the house.
Yeah.
Steve and Scott from California. We've got Penny from Oklahoma. We have Logan is here, and Richard and Alan and Bill says, hey girl, and I got checkered flags and everything. And some folks know what my sign said last week, because I'm all about my sign.
I didn't even watch.
Here's a little
I'm
cool.
sorry.
Yeah, I did a whole show about cooling.
Oh yeah,
last week.
it was the radiator.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There was a radiator.
There was a
I do
radiator
remember it now.
involved. Yes,
Yes,
there was. Yep.
Yeah.
Gary's here from High Point here in North Carolina. We've got Fred from Nevada. So man, we're covering the country today. My goodness, especially through the South. Oh my gosh, I got Christina here from Idaho. I used to live in Idaho.
Really?
I did. I lived in Boise for like 7 years.
Where's that at?
Okay, I saw the craziest thing the other day, and you will have to now look at a picture of the state of Idaho. In fact, there's one right here, and okay, I'm going to go ahead and share it with the class, because I can't unsee this now, and I'm a little bit sad, but okay, so this is my FedEx shipping map right here, is what I'm showing off. I can't even see myself. I'm somewhere, but oh, there we go. So there's my FedEx shipping map, and you can see this from the back end, but what I saw on a meme is that the state of Idaho, once you see that Joe Biden sniffing the state of Idaho, you literally cannot unsee it.
No way. It's his nose.
It is.
Why?
I know, I can't unsee that now.
I never would have saw it until you made me see
know,
it.
and now I can't unsee it. And now I'm spreading the... It's a crazy deal.
Canada.
Oh my gosh, we got Canada here too. So
That's
we got
awesome.
people from all over. And now we have a task for you. We have something exciting.
Yeah.
So for one, if you know what my sign said, go ahead and drop that in. And we've got a Profab hat. You've got a hat right here.
Yeah.
And we will send you a Pro Fabrication hat. Andy bringing the swag today. But Andy even brought something even more special. And what did you bring, Andy, for our giveaway?
I mean, what are you talking about? I brought me. We're giving me away.
Is that what is happening?
No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Bree would be so mad at me.
Nobody
His
wants
girlfriend
me.
would kill me.
Nobody wants me anyways.
No, but this is the biggest giveaway we've ever done on Top 5 Tuesday, and we have a pair of mufflers here. And I asked Andy beforehand. He said he wanted, well, Andy came to me and said, hey, I want to give these away.
Right.
So I asked him what he wanted, and he said, I want to see some pictures of some race cars. So, you know, you probably have a picture of your race car saved on your phone or on your computer or somewhere. Drop in a picture of your race car, and at the end of this video, then we'll just use a random number generator to generate like how many pictures we have, and then, you know, randomly give them away. So you're gonna get a pair of mufflers. These are meant for a 3-inch collector, and that's what these are meant for. You know, so clearly you're gonna want to have a race car that is a 3-inch collector. So you know, that way we know we're not just like, you know, giving this away to some random person who can't use it. We want to definitely get these in the hands of someone who's, you know, who's going to do great things. Because what is it? Let's talk about anti-reversion for a minute and really. I mean, I've talked about this a lot on the show. I've talked about it in videos and things, but maybe this is the first time you were hearing this. How this really works is that. And feel free to add on. I'm gonna, you know, girlify. I turn everything into a girl conversation. So just
so
letting
everyone
you know.
Understands.
Well, if I do, then an 8th grader should be able to. So what can happen is as your exhaust is coming out of down your header, it can't necessarily expel all the way out. There's some of it that just kind of hangs out at the end and just is kind of sitting there. And then the next time that your engine pulses to bring air in, what can happen is that dead exhaust gas can get sucked back into the engine. So think about it almost like blowing through a paper bag. Is, you know, at some point that carbon dioxide, you know, is not going to be the best thing. So what we want to do is anytime our engine opens up to take in more air, we want to give it as clean of air as possible. So inside of this is a pocket, and when that suction happens from the engine, the dead exhaust gases get sucked into that pocket so that they can't go back up into the motor and contaminate the next charge. And because of that, because you're using real, you know, clean air is going back into the engine, then the result is you get more torque. So that's how you get there, but what we really want at the end of this is we want more torque. And the torque is coming off of the corners. It's probably the biggest thing that people say about it, is that extra little bit of, well, especially in a crate engine, it's that extra little bit of oomph that gets you out of the corner. And I'm sure you probably have a way better explanation than I do, but that's how I explain it.
No, I would say I completely agree. I mean, and this was a whole kind of new concept to even us. We had never used the anti-reversion muffler in anything we had ever done until we started working with Steve and we started developing our crate late model stuff. But realistically, in all the other applications that we would do stuff, really something like this really wasn't practical, or there was other reasons behind, you know, whether it was fitment or ways that the header is, or the fact that they have 900 horsepower. Trying to put it to the ground is ridiculous anyways, unless you're on a drag strip, and we won't even get in that story. But you know, I mean, there was just none of our other stuff that made it practical. So when we went to the crate late model world in the dirt side, we had to catch up, per se. You know, I don't want to say we were behind, but we were behind. You know what I mean? So
well, it's just different, you know. And I find that I have a lot of conversations with guys coming out of super late models or open engines, and this crate thing. It's not a step down, it's just a step different.
Yes.
It's because it's just a different type of racing with the momentum. Instead of, you know, throwing another $10,000 at it so you can get another 10 horsepower, you know, you got what you got. Yeah. So we're going to try to look for every single little advantage we can find. And then this particular size here, we call it a 3 in 3 out, but a little bit of a spoiler alert, but we've got a little prop here. You're going to show us, we have another new product to talk about. We're not giving these away, but I would definitely just want to show. So this is going to be a Street Stock header right here, that we'll talk a little bit more about. But this, a lot of times I get the question of like which end goes on there. Well, this end isn't going to fit. It's going to just butt up to it. So clearly that's not the right way. That makes it easier.
Right.
And so if the muffler don't fit, you got to turn it around. I know.
I have to say something really quick.
Yes.
They cannot drop photos in live chat.
Oh, we can't drop photos in live chat. Okay,
That's what I thought. Yeah,
oh, we didn't know. We didn't know. So can't do that. So what do we want to say instead? Do we want to say profab or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you?
If you're interested if the mufflers would be something that would work for your program, just drop the words profab into the comments, and we'll do that. So thanks for letting us know, Alex. We didn't really know. We were just trying something new.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest thing. Let's just make sure that someone gets them that can actually use them, and that we're going to win races, right? Because that's ultimately what we're here to do. So
that's what we want to do. So here, when we say that this is a 3-in, 3-out, what we mean, it's 3-inch expanded on one side, so it's going to go over a 3-inch pipe or 3-inch collector, and that it's going to have a 3-inch out the end of the exhaust. Now this is going to be a true 3-inch, so that when you have something like a turn down, now I don't want to mess these up and scratch this paint right now, but this is a turnout that you could put over the top of this, and this would, because it's tabbed, this would go right over the top of that. Mm-hmm. We are going to scratch up the paint. And let's talk about using steel with stainless steel, because you and I have gone back and forth talking about whether you needed, what's the best choice for a lot of these headers. If you need to go stainless steel all the way through. I mean, we've mixed and matched for a while.
Yeah.
We've gotten the stainless, like on our Crate lay model headers, those are stainless all the way through. But is there a performance advantage with stainless?
On a header standpoint, yes. On a muffler, no. Realistically on a muffler, it's so short, it's such a short span, and it's so far down in the exhaust that we're really not going to see a performance gain between stainless and mild steel. The main reason why on the late model stuff was I just felt like that, let's just do stainless all the way, right? We built a stainless header, let's make a stainless muffler. All right, on the street stock stuff, yes, we can argue the same thing, right? We want all stainless, but we also wanted to try to keep this, even though the header itself, we wanted to keep the whole package as cheap as we could and still keep the same quality. So therefore, I had guys running the stainless muffler in the beginning. I derailed that last week, or 2 weeks ago at Cherokee with one driver, and he wound up in Victory Lane. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
But, this cuts a lot of, it cuts, $80 out of the whole package for the street stock stuff. They definitely perform really, really well. So to me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, let's just go that route. Like I said, I mean, it's not going to affect anything. It packages a lot nicer underneath a street stock car. It looks clean. It's going to last a while. You can just weld it on there. You can weld mild steel to stainless with a MIG gun. It's not going to hurt it. You know what I mean? So don't be scared of it or that kind of thing. Or if you want to slot them or whatever, however you want to attach it, I'll leave that up to you. But you can just weld it up and it's fine. I mean, it's not, we can weld mild steel to stainless. So.
Well, and you also liked that look. You kind of liked this contrasting look of the stainless with the black. It it's got this sharpness to it.
Right, yeah, and when you do buy the kit, it also does come with the turn down. So like if you have this black, the black muffler with all the stain, it's just cool. I think it looks good.
I think so too.
So I think it's, it breaks it up. It kind of looks nice. So, but yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no advantage to having a stainless muffler besides, the longevity of them and that kind of thing. And for most people, this is going to last forever anyways.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Well, and that really brings us, since it's already in your hand, talking about our new product here that we've just added to the store. Like between yesterday and today, we've just added this to the store. And that would be our new street stock header set. Right. So tell us a little bit about this. I want to know, first of all, what chassis this fits. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, I would love for you to explain your collector design, that whole little contraption thing, because this was something that was developed like around this time last year. It was about when that came about. And it was a result of problem solving, and plus it looks cool. So tell us about these.
Yeah, so I kind of put this endeavor off for a long time, even though I had a bunch of guys messaging me and texting me and calling me and you got to do it, you got to do it, got to do it. I finally fell for it. No. But this class is so growing. It's growing everywhere. It's growing locally. It's growing nationally. The whole 602 street stock deal is definitely growing. So the first chassis we did build these on was a Johnson chassis, which everybody knows that's actually a fabricated front clip car. It's stock front clip locations, but it's still a fabricated car. So we went back and forth with Ricky Green, fitting wise. I think our owner Steve drove back and forth to his shop probably 10 times, it felt like, just making sure every little thing, because we did decide to do it inside the frame header. That's a whole nother topic, because a lot of guys want over the top headers, right, or crossover headers. Well, I don't care if you put 30 inches inside the frame or if you put 30 inches over the top of the motor, you still got 30 inches. And I'm talking about tube length. So
you didn't make that any better.
Yeah. So there is no advantage running a over the frame header versus a inside the frame header. The biggest thing is here is it's tucked in. You're gonna have a hard time unless something breaks or you have a really hard wreck. You're gonna have a hard time getting to it. So it was easier for us to say, hey, we know all this will fit most cars. It is a metric front clip car, so like a Monte Carlo style car. It'll fit so many different cars versus trying to come up with, Billy Joe put his bar here, Bobby Joe put a bar here, that kind of thing. So we did use our CNC machined flanges, so still no laser cut flanges, so we didn't really cheapen out on anything there.
I know it's something you and I talked about, and tell us the advantage of when you've got a CNC flange like this. Well, and let's talk about, before we go into that, let's talk a little bit about flanges. And I have this conversation a lot where people ask about the 602 versus the 604.
Yep.
Because their bolt locations are in exactly the same spots. So you really could take a 602 header and slap it on a 604 and vice versa. But there's a big difference.
Right. So the biggest difference so I'll start with the CNC machine flange first off. It does allow us to lighten it up a little bit. It also allows us, we do 3/8 thick flanges, therefore when we flat sand them and everything, the back of our flange, make sure I don't hit anything here, is perfectly flat. There's nothing sticking out in the flange. You shouldn't have an issue with sealing up, whether you want to use Steve Hendren's red RTV.
That's a running joke about how much he hates the red silicone.
He sells it. Check him out, Hendren. You can call him, ask him for a big tube of it. Or you can use any, obviously I would always say use metal gaskets, but any gasket realistically that'll fit a 602 or a 604. They're probably the same gaskets for the most part. They probably slot them, but they will fit and it'll snug up nice. There's nothing impeding anything. We clean out all the ports so there's nothing hanging over. There's nice smooth transition. Now going back to the 602, 604. So the biggest difference between the 602, 604, they're still the same amount of bolt holes. They're all still in a straight line, and they will bolt up on either or.
Yeah, they will. Right.
But a 604 has a raised port. So what that's saying is the port relation to bolt hole is raised. So where this is the 602, it's directly in the middle of the port. 604, you'll look and it'll seem like the ports are higher, in relation to the bolt hole. A lot of companies will slot holes and make them fit both. We personally don't do that because I don't want someone to call me and be like, hey, I'm down 30 foot-pounds of torque and 40 horsepower or something, and they have their header bolted up wrong. I just think that's one less thing that we have to worry about. So I make flanges specifically for the 604 and then one specifically for the 602. It makes, it just makes a lot nicer product. When you bolt it up, it's exactly where it needs to go. There's no question about if it needs to go all the way up or all the way down or sideways or people stripping out stuff, whatever. It's made specifically for that head. So.
Well, and I want to tell us about this. So we've got a 4-into-1 collector here. And with these, are these like a lot of times you'll find like 1 3/4, 1 5/8. I mean, with our stepped headers for late models, but these the tubes look about the same size.
Yeah.
So is this just like 1 1/2 at 5/8? Straight tube?
Right. Well, this is 1 5/8 to 1 3/4.
Oh, it is?
Still,
Okay.
It's still a stepped header.
Okay.
I do recommend that. I will say, and I don't know, maybe even now, maybe breaking the news to you, but we do have an 1 5/8 all header. I know I just seen where Steve Shaw asked what's the tube sizes. There is a few street stock series in asphalt that I'm aware of that have an 1 5/8 all rule. So we did build an 1 5/8 all header. I do have one of those available. I even have one in stock. So that is available. But I will say we've tested. I haven't dynoed the two back to back, but we did run them on the racetrack, and he said he could tell a significant difference. The 1 5/8 is definitely not as good as a stepped header. But if your rules are that, then your rules are that, right?
Well, yeah, and then everybody's equal.
Correct.
Great. I didn't know about the stepped header aspect.
Yes.
I mean, this is a brand new product to me as well, so I'm learning about it just right along with you. But tell us about your collector design. We got the 4-into-1. You've got something special with your collector, and we might be able to just flash this up to the camera so people can see the interior of this. And I don't know if we can see it on the regular camera, but it's really pretty beautiful how you bring all four of those pipes together in there. But tell us about this attachment and why you've got these bolts and stuff rather than just welding this on.
Right. So when we first built our crate header, we had a weld-on collector, and I don't know what it was about. I don't know if it was how hard these cars are on stuff, beating around, all that heat. I don't know.
I did not have a seizure. I was mimicking being on a rough racetrack. So.
Right. Yeah. So I had some issues. Right. We had some that cracked around the collector, and as you know, we have a reputation of having a really nice product and something that lasts forever. And so I wasn't happy with it. And that was one thing that I'll say from the beginning is I don't think it was a mistake, but we learned from it. Mm-hmm. We built what we knew how to build, and it just wasn't, it didn't last as long as I would want. So, and also it helps if you support them right. But, to me, I have to assume nobody supports headers. So I have to build a header that lasts without supporting it, right?
Yeah, cantilevered off the engine with no ties back to the, to the chassis.
And you want to put a big heavy muffler on here, while you're going around the racetrack like this. So, either way, I have to assume, I have to make something that lasts, even for the people who don't take care of their stuff. So, we designed, first off, we went to a heavier gauge tube. And I didn't really see any issues later that year. Matter of fact, the other day was the first one I'd seen in a long time that we had issues with anyways. But, so we decided to go to our shop manager. Well, I'll go back. Our owner, Steve, said, why don't we just run a merge collector? Well, we all know you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
the rules will not let us do merge collectors,
Yes. So I said, no, we can't do that. He goes, well, it'll last forever. I'm like, that's fine, but we can't do that. You know what I mean? We have to stay within the rules and not build any illegal headers. So our shop manager, we were all sitting down one day, it was like how to fix this, how to create something nice, how to make something repairable, all these different things were coming up. But the main reason was, how long does something last, right? It was all come back to, we're having issues and we got to fix it now. So he said, well, let me get a collector and go back there and mess around with it. I was like, okay. So he came back and he goes, I got an idea. And I was like, okay. So he cut full collector blanks, like we would be making a standard weld up collector that we would run on anything else, 4-into-1. And he cut where you normally would have a spike inside the collector, he cut those legs way back and bent them over and welded it up. And I was like, this is genius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, this gives us the flexibility for all this stuff to move around, which I'm not moving it right now, but is that mine? That's my phone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Everything to move around and heat and that kind of thing, so it'll last forever. And yet we don't have a merge collector because there's no spike in it, there's no choke, it's straight 3-inch. I was like, that fixed our issue, right? We can allow things to move, contract with heat. You have a nice flow from all the tubes coming into the collector. It's really nice transition through there. And also, we could slide this collector off, and if this tube gets wrecked, like I had one brought to me this past week, that this tube right here was wrecked. Well, now I can just slide the collector off and cut this one tube out and repair that tube. And it cost me like $150 or something, So it was like, instead of buying a whole side, or before where we would have to cut a whole collector off and, or just try to cut a little section out and try to weld around it and make it look, cobble it up, try to fix it, So not, it made it more repairable. It gave us better performance, and also it made the header last longer. So to me, it was like a win-win for everybody.
I completely agree. I think it's really innovative. Hadn't seen anything like it, and it's I think it's a good addition. It's a good example of something, and it's great. We've got this on the late model side. Now we've also got it on the street stock side as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, street stock headers. Definitely check your rules. I mean, check your rules anytime you're buying anything new, and especially performance, because a lot of times rules like to not let you run new stuff, so that happens.
Yeah, that does happen.
New shiny things, of course. Yeah. Now you brought another header for me too to add to the store. We haven't done that yet, but we've got a header now from ProFab for the CT525 for the dirt late models. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that was kind of a, that's been a lot of work. It seems like for a long period of time, and we've had guys buy it, and we've been kind of running it for a long time. Just never really. I just put it on my website not that long ago, so it was like one of those things where I just never really advertised it, never really did anything with it. It was just as someone would call, we would build them. So, and we've had a lot of success with it lately. We finally got, we got the stainless muffler now, the whole package. So it just made sense to go ahead and kind of release them and start getting them out there.
That's great. And I see, Gary's asking, what about the heat? So, I mean, that's the other thing about this collector. And I'm not sure if you're talking about the collector specifically there, Gary, but yeah, I mean, between a rough track and the heat with that new collector design, then that really takes care of any of this, like, expansion and contraction and all of that, and really handles all of that really a whole lot better.
And I imagine he also could be talking about with the headers being inside the frame.
I could be too.
And and a lot of times you think about that and you're like, well, there's a lot of heat in there. But at the same time, you think about all the other series that we built headers for, most of them are inside the frame. Like all your NASCAR stuff's inside the frame. All your late model stock stuff is inside the frame. So it's like, it's not a new concept. It may be kind of new to that particular world, but it's not a new concept, and I haven't had any issues. I mean, we're running 15, 20 lap races, 50 laps at the most. We're not running marathons, and we're not running 400 laps on Sunday. So yeah, I think we're good.
So Steve says, would love them, but on a 2.5 rule. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what a 2.5 rule is. 2.5-inch headers?
Maybe is that an outlet size? Do you have to run 2.5 on the outlet size?
I mean, who makes that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, BA makes a 2 3/4. Schoenfelds are all 3-inch. Your stuff's 3-inch. So Dynatech stuff was, I mean, when they were circle track, they were all 3-inch. So I don't know what a 2.5 rule is.
Yeah, if you could let us know what that is. I mean, the cool part about the collectors is this a collector. It's not a complete, if it is an outlet size or whatever, it's a collector. So that's not a huge change.
See, Mikey says Big Johnson, I believe, is a GRT stock car, I think.
Probably,
is that what it was?
Yeah.
They all, so many of these are copy of each other. So he says, what size are the tubes? I'm on a 1 5/8-inch rule. So you could do a straight 1 5/8.
Yeah, we actually have one. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. So that would work out really, really well. Mikey asked, do you need to run the short oil filter with this header for a 602 or 604?
We've had it on. I haven't had anybody complain about it. I mean, I can't really say that what was on the car specifically because I don't know that for sure. But I haven't had any issues. The starter's there, everything. I haven't had any problems. So. Now
Terry says rules. We don't need no stinking rules.
All right. So Terry's been hounding me about this header that has a rule. Nah. I actually need to get back with him. Okay. Yeah, I agree with him 100%. Though I'm on board with you, bud.
Gotcha. Yes. Oh, and Steve says the anti-mufflers, the anti-reversion muffler. He's talking about the heat. No, that was Gary about the heat. Maybe it's the 2.5 inch. I'm not really sure, but I'm not sure how to answer that question. So I think that's most of what we've got. So I think we'll probably start.
The 3-inch in, 3-inch out mufflers, anti-reversion mufflers, and Ricky Green won the big street stock race at Cherokee.
Yes.
So that was pretty awesome. He's super happy with them, super excited. He definitely said you could tell a difference, and I know he's a believer in them now.
Wow.
For sure. If he wasn't before, he is now. So, now that was good.
Well, and we've got someone here who's going to have a chance to run them for themselves, and that is going to be Sean Hare. So, Sean, congratulations. You are the winner today of a pair of the anti-reversion mufflers. Andy even made them special and put Pro-Fabrication stickers on them that were going to burn off in about 30 seconds after you start up your car, but they're going to look cool.
Absolutely. They look cool in the pack.
They will.
That's what I'm about. I don't know what it was like after, but but as long as it looks good when you get them, that's what it's about, right?
No, so Sean, make sure that you send us a private message with your address, and so we can get those sent out to you. I want to thank you so much for being on the show today, Andy, and bringing me up a whole truckload worth of ProFab stuff from my beautiful shelves.
Yes.
And I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of the show, and I will look forward to seeing you. I'll be back on Sunday with Steve Hendren from Hendren Racing Engines. And of course, I'll be back here on Tuesday of next week. See you guys soon. Thanks.